Hi friends, it's me Jen with Hidden River Creative and it's Craftoween time! Today I'm going to start with day one and show you this cute little card that I made with the day one dies. Stay tuned and see how I made this. Okay, 13 days of Craftoween is here. When I saw that Spellbinders had this 13 days of Craftoween box, I snagged one. I was so giddy. I was so excited about it because not only is it Halloween, but it has 13 little envelopes that are a surprise each day that you open them. How fun is that? Like an advent calendar, but Halloween. So I'm just going to start by taking these out of the little tissue paper. You get some fun little sequins with it. And you also get a stamp set that you can use with all of the dies that you're going to get in these little envelopes. A whole bunch of sentiments that you can mix and match for whatever card you make. And then all of these little envelopes. So I'm going to take these out of the package. There are 13 days of these because it's 13 days of Halloween. The pictures on the front of these envelopes do not represent what is inside the actual package. So don't be confused by that. So this day one is going to be a cute little vampire. How adorable is he? So you get all of these little dies to make the vampire. You can use the picture that's on the envelope there to help you put them together, but it's really very, very easy. So I'm just kind of trying to get an idea of what sort of card I want to make. I knew I wanted him to be flying in front of the moon immediately when I saw him. So I'm just grabbing my Hero Arts Infinity Circles, grabbing the fifth one in from the outside, and then I'm just grabbing some cardstock scraps. These little dies are a great way to use up your cardstock scraps. So I just grabbed some various colors. Again, I just went with the inspiration for my colors that's on the actual envelope. And when this little vampire gets cut out, you can see that it embosses kind of a guide on where you should glue the other pieces. So that is super, super helpful. So I'm just kind of loosely fitting him together here just to see what he's going to look like because I was too excited about it. And I cut my infinity circle out of a cardstock scrap so that I could use it as a stencil. My camera is doing weird stuff today, y'all. So if you see it go in and out of focus, I'm so sorry. I don't know what was going on. I'm taking some Altenew Sunray fresh dye ink and I'm just going to go over this entire circle with that. My blending brush I have here are those wonderful 1-inch blending brushes from Pinkfresh. They sell out often and for good reason. If you don't have these brushes, get some. They are fantastic. I cannot recommend them enough. For my second yellow color, I'm going in with Honey Drizzle, also Altenew Fresh Dye Ink, just around the outside of the circle. I wanted to create kind of a glow coming from the inside, so I wanted it to be lighter in the center. Once this dried back, you can't really see it that well, so fail, but you can still tell that it's a moon. That's really all that matters. So, yeah, that's where he's gonna go. Now it's time to put this little guy together, and I am going to turn on some music while I do that. Okay, How cute is that little vampire? I cannot. His little hands, y'all, so cute. Okay, so now I have my cardstock panel in my Misti stamping tool. I'm just going to stamp my sentiments directly onto my card base. So I'm using some Versafine Onyx black ink, and I chose Happy Halloween, have a fantastic night. And I'm just stamping those directly onto my card panel. Have to do that a couple times because these are brand new stamps. They haven't been conditioned. And then I decided that looks a little flat, so let's do some splatter. So I am using just some Stampin' Up! Re-inkers that I've had on hand for a while because I need to use these guys. So I chose a black and a purple, and I'm just putting those a little dot onto an acrylic block, spraying some water on it, and then flicking it onto my cardstock with my splatter brush. These splatter brushes I got from Amazon, and I'll link those in the video description below. Then I just made sure that all my little splatter bits were dry using my Wow heat tool. Once those are dry, I'm going to place my little vampire on the front. Those little bats that you see next to him do not come with the die set. Those are from another die set. It's from the Haunted House Spellbinders little die set that I have on hand. I'm sure everyone has some sort of bat from some die set in their stash if you love Halloween, so you can just use those. I cut these out of black glitter cardstock, and I'm just using them as sort of embellishments, honestly. Then I'm going to adhere these down with liquid glue, and voila, the front of my card is done. So now for the inside. When I had these in the splatter box, that second piece was for the inside of my card. I always finish the inside of my card. So I'm just taking another sentiment, and I'm going to stamp that again directly down on the inside using my Versafine Onyx black ink. Sorry, my head gets in the way there. I cannot line up a stamp unless my head is directly over it. I cannot see. So I have to do that. So I'm very, very sorry. So I'm just stamping the sentiment, hope your Halloween is to die for. And then I also cut more bats out of some other colors of cardstock. I ended up just choosing just a regular purple cardstock for these. So I'm going to adhere those down again with liquid glue. And then I'm going to adhere that to the inside of my card. I chose to use some double-sided tape on this because when I heated up my cardstock piece here with my heat tool, it did warp it a little bit. So I just want to make sure that this stays down flat. So I'm going to use a combination of double-sided tape and liquid glue to hold that in. So I'm using my Perfect Picker tool from Altenew to remove these adhesive backers from the tape. And then I'm going to come in with my liquid glue and just put a line of glue over the top of each one of these lines of double-sided tape. This is really helpful, and I do this because it gives me some wiggle room. There are some people that can use double-sided tape and just adhere something down and it's perfectly centered. I'm not that person. I have to have some time to fix what I did wrong, so that's why I always use liquid glue on top of my double-sided tape in these situations. And then, in true Jen fashion, I somehow had ink on my hand, some black ink from my sentiment, and when I was adhering that down, it got all over the inside of my card, so I had to use a mono sand eraser to get that off. But there's my completed card. Very quick, very easy. So if you have the Craftoween box, give this one a try. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.